Welcome to Season 6 of CX in the Wild with the global voice of CX, Dennis Wakabayashi. Embark on a safari into authentic conversations with emerging CX leaders and brands. The adventure starts now.
Perfect. Well, here we are, meeting in a little coffee shop in my hotel in Dubai. I'm so excited to have Eman here. Eman, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure meeting you the other day at the event. So glad to getting to know someone amazing like yourself. And here we are meeting again, but in a more casual way, right? You know me. I will just explain myself more for the audience. To the audience, I'm Eman Talaat. I'm Head of Experience Design at the Department of Government Enablement, Abu Dhabi. I have been in the CX and UX landscape for over 20 years now. Don't judge me, I'm 25.
Sure.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough to be working in prestigious organizations like Abu Dhabi Government, Dubai Government, leading retail companies like Majid Al Futtaim, Carrefour. So I got to learn a lot. I'm still learning. I love to learn every day, no matter how many years I spend in this field, because it's something I love. It's something I practice in my everyday life, so I'm eager to learn new stuff every day.
Well, speaking of learning new stuff every day, we have this whole new learning ahead of us with artificial intelligence.
100%.
You know what's interesting is it's such a buzzword now, but Google was an algorithm.
Yeah.
Netflix was using a sense of AI to make some suggestions. For many years, we've had AI, but suddenly when ChatGPT hit last year, it just reached a critical mass of acceptability. And now, you know, even with all the big news this week about OpenAI,
Yes.
I know that you've been thinking a lot about ethics and artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
What have you been learning? What can we learn from you about this topic?
100%. I remember this quote, Dennis, someone said, unfortunately I don't remember the name, but he said AI as we currently experience it is the worst version of AI. Why? Because it's still booming. It's still, there is a long way for us to learn and for the AI to mature. So now is the perfect time for all of us to learn more about AI. Like you mentioned, everyone is talking about AI, but very few talk about ethics, right? And as a human-centric person, this always the first thing that comes into my mind when people are talking about AI. AI is amazing, it's providing great capabilities, it's saving us a lot of time and money and everything. But with this comes a great responsibility for us as CX and UX experts to always advocate for the user. Now the users are faced by this new technology. A lot of data and information are being taken from them. Yes, with their consent, but not the proper one, how I imagine it to be user-centric. So now, this is what I'm learning about every day now, how to protect users, how to keep the services and products human-centric with this revolution of AI.
One of the things that you touched on right there, that you've already opened my eyes, is so many times when I think about the danger or the benefit of AI, because there's a lot of conversation about it, I think a lot of the times I think about the security, the ethics of using it for maybe, you know, you see some things where they trick GPT into telling them how to do things like that. Or I think about security concerns. I think maybe because I watched that movie. I even watched it this afternoon, like the latest version of the Terminator, where they were trying to stop.
Wow.
I watched that. It was in the hotel room.
Okay.
But I think all of the concern I had was about the digital aspect of it. But you're talking about maybe potentially moral dilemmas that we might have.
Moral dilemmas, exactly. I like how you phrase it this way, moral dilemmas. Here comes always, Dennis.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Some people are very skeptical about AI. That I know personally some of my colleagues who are boycotting ChatGPT, literally. They don't want to even use it because they are so scared of it. They are so scared that one day it will take our jobs. This is I'm totally not agreeing with. I always say AI is like the industrial revolution. Before we used to do very hard jobs, taking a lot of effort and a lot of time from us as humans. And then came the industrial revolution and machines are doing this, right? So we can do more humane-like jobs. This is actually how I see AI. It's not scary, it's something that is helping us and will improve our lives. That's why I always say our roles as human will not disappear, we will just evolve. Like everything in life, everything has to evolve, including us, right? So talking about morals, it's essential, right? We cannot, as CXers, UXers, we cannot just watch this revolution happening and we don't have an input there, advocating for the user and protecting the user. First, I would say, for example, transparency. Whatever service or product using AI, there has to be clear transparency with users. What kind of data they are collecting and why, and where the AI is going to use this data. And don't tell me terms and conditions. I hate terms and conditions the way it is now. Yeah, it must die. By the way, I'm working now on my recent article on Medium. I name it Why Terms and Conditions Must Die. Because terms and conditions, the way it is, it's only protecting the company.
That's right.
Right? But the user, how? I mean, I was recently in that event and I asked the audience, there was like 60-something people there. I asked them how many of you actually read the terms and conditions, and the answer was zero.
Zero, yeah.
Zero. And they are tech-savvy people, imagine. So they know that this product or the service is taking data from them, and still they don't read it because it's not usable, it's not intuitive. No one have the time. If I'm using, subscribing to a service, I don't have time to go and read, right? This is number one go-to for me now, and my focus on this to revamp the whole terms and conditions. There needs to be a way to actually communicate to users what kind of data we are taking from you. Why we're using it, how can you stop us any day you want, right, from taking this data? I was talking with a friend.
I have an idea for you. I want to throw off your medium. And I also want to, hold on one second, I'm going to just ask this.
Okay.
And I was just asking about the music just to be sure, because
Okay.
you have such a soft voice that I was concerned that maybe, but this is why we call it CX in the wild.
Yes, it's in the wild.
So you were going to go on to say a bunch of other cool stuff, but you made me just think, you know what I think you should do for just fun is grab the terms and conditions off some recent something application and run it through GPT and tell GPT to tell you what's wrong or what the concerns are for the humans.
Wow.
Because that's a way to
love it.
flip that, and that would be great content.
Yeah, now we're using AI to detect the AI.
To protect us.
Exactly, to protect us. Exactly. That's amazing, Dennis. Yeah, it's one of the great ideas that my intention is to make it consumable for users, not even tech-savvy users, any kind of users. Think of the elderly, think of the children who are using the applications here and there, the games, everything. I need to cater the terms and conditions in a way per persona, I want to show the terms and conditions
yes,
in a consumable way.
that is brilliant. That makes so much sense. Why it makes zero sense that one terms and conditions would fit every
Everyone.
person
Yeah.
a blanket. But again,
Exactly.
it's a legal protection.
Yes.
I'd like to go back to a little bit something you said earlier. And I'll share this with you.
Sure.
But I have a keyword that you might want to research is the lump of labor fallacy.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
No.
I'll WhatsApp it to you.
Okay.
And I'll send you my deck on it.
Okay.
But here's the thing. And this may not apply to your region,
Okay.
but I was looking at it in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a study that says whenever there's immigrants or there is a technological change like you mentioned, the Industrial Revolution, there is a fear amongst the people that they will lose their jobs.
Yes.
And this is called the lump of labor fallacy. And the research actually shows that never in the history of time has anyone lost their jobs because of innovation or from immigrants.
Amazing.
And what I think triggers people about AI is we perceive it as both a technology, but also an immigrant.
Yes.
So
exactly.
So I'll send you this research.
Yes,
it's for the
please.
US, but
That's
think
amazing.
you'll
It's a new
appreciate it.
perspective. It's a new perspective I would like to explore more.
But this is your show. I just wanted to contribute
it's
to your
fine,
journey.
Dennis.
So as we think about the ethics, I love that you're taking on the idea of terms and conditions. So if there was somebody who made a bot, used AI, that just you clicked before you subscribed, you said click this, and it read the terms and conditions for you and summarized them.
Yeah. For example, yeah.
Because let's hear me out, just following your idea. I go in, there's an app. I go in and I type in my name, I create my persona.
Okay.
And then I just say, this is what I'm getting ready to subscribe to. And GPT runs out, reads it, and says, here's the risk to your persona. As a woman, you have these risks as a man, as an elderly person like I am, versus a school student. You know, you can see the variation
Amazing.
there. That would be an interesting app to have.
Exactly.
And
That's where AI will actually protect users and will be for the benefit of the user, not only the business.
the other thing I wanted to dive into is you talked about this not being the best version of AI.
Yes.
And I have this theory. I believe that we will not in our lifetime see GPT 5.0 or 6.0.
Okay.
Because the amount of data, if you think about this next generation being exponentially bigger than this one,
Yeah.
this has consumed our attention so much
Yes.
that I can't even imagine the technology it would take to get to the next
Agree.
level. So
I agree, 100%. I think yes, it's our children or the generation who will witness this better version of AI, because it will take time. It will take time to be that mature. Now, for example, I want to talk about one more principle I'm thinking of for ethical AI. For sure, there are some guidelines there, by the way, from Google, Microsoft, OpenAI itself. There are ethics, ethics for AI guidelines, so enterprises can follow. But I'm trying to break it down to consider what's related to user experience and customer experience. One of the things, the points that caught my attention is about inclusivity. The AI being fair and there is no bias in the AI. Let me explain more about this. If the data, how AI works, it's being fed by data. It processes big amounts of data, and based on this, it recognizes patterns, and based on this, it provides like predictive analytics, for example. So it all starts with human. It all starts with feeding the data. So it starts with the data. Making sure the data is inclusive and it's not biased and represents all user groups is crucial, right? Because the output will reflect the input, but in a smarter way, right? So here comes again the human role. And you will always hear me in any AI conversation mentioning the human role. This is what I believe, at least. So making sure the data is inclusive, the algorithms, there should be like an audit from a human about how the algorithms are working. Is it including all user groups regardless of their race, color, nationality, whatever, to make sure the AI is actually ethical and not biased.
So, on what you're saying is, I agree with everything you're saying in principle. And because I'm with you here in the CX universe,
Yeah.
I think about the implementation of that. And let me give you an example of where I think the written word could have benefited, or we might learn a lesson from this. So, and I'm not knowledgeable about the religious boundaries in this part of the world, or I'm not making a statement about religion.
Sure.
But what I am saying is there's an observation that when the Bible was translated from Greek to another language, the idea of virgin versus pure. So you have pure virgin olive oil.
Okay.
So when you translate it, you could say this person was a virgin, or this person was pure.
Yeah.
But the different languages create a different context.
Yes.
And so depending upon how the AI translates the language from one country or society to another, the AI should be helpful in helping us remove the bias or increase the continuity of our understanding.
Exactly, 100%. That's an amazing example. I couldn't agree more on this, Dennis. It will need a lot of work. I would say a lot of supervision from us as UXers in our organizations. I will tell you something. That would actually come to the next principle, as I would call it in my mind, which is accountability. Whenever we decide as a team or organization to start using AI in a product or service we're providing, there should be clear accountability for all team members, I would say, product owners, developers, designers. So whenever there is like a leakage, data leakage, or a complaint from a customer about something, there needs to be a way to actually detect who is the person responsible for this, so we can rectify. For example, because if my team as designers, we know that we are, I will tell you one example now, I remember this. We as designers, we are advocating for the user, right? Across all products and services, all right? So if my team as designers, hands-on UX UI designer, we know that while you are designing this screen or something, you cannot hide this unsubscribe option from the user just because the business owner wants to hide it, so it makes more profits by hiding it. Because this is how business think, right? He thinks money, he thinks time, he wants profit. He will not think much about the user. But you as a designer know that it's your responsibility. So if we have a complaint from the call center, and that's where comes the end-to-end journey. If we have a complaint from the call center that a user is unable to subscribe and he intentionally called the call center to help him unsubscribe, this is a problem in design, right? So this way is how we make everyone accountable before we ship a product to a user, especially with AI.
That was one of the coolest things. I hear a lot of cool things on this podcast, and one of the reasons I do it is to learn from the rest of the world. Your idea of accountability, because we can even make that softer. It could be just training in your educational process.
Yeah.
There could be more ethical training about what to look for. There could be in your HR, human resources.
100%.
There could be
building a culture. Dennis, building a culture of human-centric approach.
yeah.
That's it. Simple.
So,
right?
and I'll tell you where this has gone. Where we've seen the seriousness of what you're saying. Are you familiar with the PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder?
Yes, for sure.
That's been caused by AI. You know about this in Africa?
No, wait. Caused by AI? No, I don't know about this.
Yeah. So post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
Hear me out. This is where the human and the machine, it really becomes an interesting moral dilemma. OpenAI, what they wanted was for people not to get violent content from the machine. So GPT had gone and read through all these things on the internet. You know, there's places like 4chan or Reddit where you can get some pretty, like, let's call it like scary stories or whatever. And essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially what happened was they outsourced the moderators to Africa or other places, probably not just Africa. But the point is, there was a team of human beings who had to read through the violent content and tag it.
Wow.
But then they asked GPT, based on that, why didn't you write the most violent content you can think of so that they could see what GPT was thinking about the violent content? And then the humans had to read through this violent content, which included things that GPT could think of, some violent things that you didn't want to read as a human. You know, and to that's a real situation. Do I think those humans, someone has to do it?
Yeah.
And so therein lies like this mental health, this wellness, this moral dilemma in some ways, and just wow. There has always been a group of people on the planet who have tried to create human principles that help us as a global society thrive. And I do think that if you have people who moderate the evil that can be inside the machine, that's an important a balance. I'm talking way too much.
No, Dennis. No, I learned a lot from you, by the way.
Because that was an interesting.
It is.
Can you imagine having to read through
exactly
the worst
like you
content?
mentioned? Without moderation, it will be a nightmare. Without moderation, I cannot imagine AI without regulations and laws. By the way, not only it's beyond us, Dennis. That's what I believe. It's beyond us. It's governments in different countries' responsibility to have some laws and regulations to moderate the usage of AI or how it operates, how it works. Otherwise, I think it will be very bad.
Do you think one AI can moderate another AI?
Yeah, 100%. I read that day about there is another app that you feed it with the output of ChatGPT, so it can make it more human, so it will not sound like from ChatGPT. So yes, I strongly believe in this. Dennis, there should be, or there will be another AI that will moderate the AI. Yeah.
I love that.
Why not?
So speaking of that, I know you are a very busy leader in this part of the world. But did you happen to go to the second day? Did you happen to attend my workshop with the deck of cards at the event?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
I missed it.
So let me tell you, what I did was I gave a gift to
Okay.
everyone who stayed because it was the last thing of the day.
Wow.
And here was the gift. Recently, as you know, GPT opened up my GPT.
Yes.
So I spent 10 hours feeding it all of my blogs, all of my research, all of my writing, all of my personal content, my strategies.
Amazing.
I taught it how to do CX as well as I could in 10 hours before the show.
Okay.
And this is why it's important to you. I'm in the process now. I have, I think, around 60, 65 podcasts. I'm feeding the transcripts of all 65 podcasts into the my version of my GPT,
Okay.
so that you can go on and you'll get the benefit of 60 other leaders like yourself, the conversations
wow.
I've had inside it, all around customer experience.
Wow. So I can simply ask about something and it will return the answer
It will
from
be-
your podcast.
It will return the context based on as much of my personal material that I can put in there,
Interesting.
including hours and
Impressive.
hours of podcasts.
Wow, this is getting cool, right? More cool.
And I can send you a link to
Yes,
it now
please.
if you want.
Yeah, please.
On WhatsApp.
I'd love to try this. Yeah, that's impressive, Dennis. That would be like wealth of knowledge.
A gift. It's a gift.
It is. It is. Yeah,
the-
100%.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So you're following through this path of ethics. Does that? How do you manifest this work? You said you're creating content on Medium.
Yeah.
And how does this impact your daily work, daily life? Do you want to talk at all about the work that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. Well, currently what I'm doing, since we are actually, I will not be able to expose what actual
Of course,
projects
yes,
we're working
yes.
on because, it's a
Yes.
government. So, but we are...
And let me just
go
say
on.
this.
Yeah, sure.
I have a safe word for the podcast, which is pass.
Okay.
So if I ask a question that becomes, because sometimes people work with brands and they're under confidentiality. I know you and the government.
Yes.
So if I ask something, you can just say pass, and we'll just move to the next question.
Okay, sure. Okay. No, this one is fine. Actually, what I'm doing, I'm having monthly workshops across the organization where I talk about AI and AI in the context of CX. And one of the sessions was about the ethics of AI. This is one thing. The other thing is I'm always talking to my team about it. Like whenever I do the design reviews, whenever we have workshops, design thinking, I always remind them about how and why we need to be ethical while we are designing, right? This reminds me of a story, Dennis. Back in the days when I was still doing hands-on work in UX and UI, I will not mention the company, okay? We were offering some kind of subscription service, and we needed to link the user card, credit or debit card, so they can auto-subscribe. They need to set their card options. And I remember I was asked by the product owner that we need, like literally, this is what he asked me, we need to hide the option for the user to delete their linked card because we want them to stay with us and stay subscribed whatsoever. So for sure, I pushed back on this. Like, I will never do that. It's not ethical. Even before AI, it was just a regular subscription service. So we had this back and forth, and I convinced him, and we did a research. I did like a research. I went to the customers. And I asked them, if you are subscribing and you're unhappy with the subscription, what you're going to do? Are you going to go on the app to unsubscribe? And to find it really struggling for them to unsubscribe, they got really frustrated, and they said, whenever we unsubscribe, we will never return to subscribe again. coming back with these results to the PO, showing him, okay, look, you cannot force people to do something, right? You can maintain customers only by being transparent and offering good services to them. But this kind of dark pattern UX is never working, never did actually, and never will. So I think a good UXer by nature will be ethical. So putting with AI coming in the picture, they will be more aware and more, keen to be more ethical, since AI is taking more data from the users. So this will be on top of their priorities as a good UXer, I would say.
And to your point, that those ethics extend into all. They can, your idea of morality across the board in all of these customer experiences, certainly a new idea that I'm grateful to have talked to you about on this podcast. Before we go, can you tell me what you think is going to be the big thing in 2024? What are you going to pay attention to?
I think the big thing will be hyper-personalization. We see actually now some kind of personalization, which is whenever you go to e-commerce app, your social media apps, you see content that's related to you, right? But because sometimes, let me say it this way, sometimes you get your recommendations, but it's like, how do I phrase this? It's like flooding your feed, right? And for example, the other day I ordered some flowers through Instagram shop, and just immediately I see my feed is flooded with flower shops. I mean, the job is done already. I'm not interested, at least now, to buy any flowers. So it's like what I imagine it to be, that the AI or the personalization will be smart enough to recognize that not because I spent, that even the AI can trigger that if you pause and you look for some time at an ad or a post, it will show you relevant, even without you having to interact with that post or ad, you know that, without even hitting like or comment or anything, just because you stopped scrolling and you're looking at this post or whatever for a few seconds, it will recognize that you're interested in this context, and it will start showing you relative content. But sometimes it's annoying, Dennis. Sometimes it's really annoying. I mean, خلاص, I'm not the same person I was yesterday. Like, yesterday I was interested in jewelry, but today I already bought it offline from some shop, and now I want to see my friends' feeds. And this is how I imagine the big thing will be in 2024. Hyper-personalization will be smarter, because now it's like a child, like if you give it a sweet, it will want sweet all day. No, it's not like that. It shouldn't be like that.
So, yes to everything you're saying. I love TikTok.
Okay.
When it first came out, I thought it was one thing, but now I realize that it's a very advanced and very savvy algorithm for these personalized analytics, and I feel like it's interest based, so it's so much better than anything we've ever seen before.
It is.
But to your point, I don't know how I got on this, but I saw a little video of a baby goat, baby goat playing.
Okay.
And so I of course, it was just cute.
Yeah.
So I sent the link. I sent it to my wife.
Okay.
Because she likes animals, and I just was like, this is the cutest thing ever. Okay. But now it's like my whole feed is like baby animals, like baby kittens, baby goats.
So it's preventing you from
exactly.
It puts you in a bubble, like it like keeps you in a bubble. Like, come on, just show me the world. I want to see the world.
Yes, because what I really want is, and I think you can do this. I haven't done it yet, but in TikTok, I think you can tell it to start the algorithm over. Like if it gets too far, you can say, clean out my cache and like let me start over again.
There is this option?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Please tell me about it.
Okay, the one more
Amazing.
thing I'm gonna have to listen to this podcast for the
Wow.
list of things. But I'm glad you clarified that, because I heard a lot of people here in the Middle East talk about hyper-personalization,
Yeah.
and I don't hear that in the other countries. I don't hear people say that.
Okay.
So I was curious what that meant. Like, is it a buzzword? Like, what does that mean? But what I think you're really saying is accurate personalization. Is that
exactly
correct?
accurate personalization? Exactly. Yeah.
That's a great thing. So,
Amazing.
so in summary, you have a interest and vision for applied ethics in the roles of CXers across the board. You even are thinking about accountability.
Yep.
And by that, you don't mean they should get in trouble, or what you really mean is the human should have an awareness and a connection to the technology that lets them understand their role in the symbiosis. That as humans and technology become closer, the way to create ethical or moral or even safer or maybe a greater benefit for all of humankind is to let the humans who make the things be part of its evolution by giving them transparency to what their role in the whole production was.
100%.
And I think that's a beautiful idea. You were also talking about helping the conversation around personalization become more accurate.
Yeah.
So for all these things, I appreciate you and your time. You've spent so much time
you,
today.
Dennis.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I hope we meet again. Thank you.
Hopefully, today's exploration with CX in the Wild has unearthed fresh CX insights for you. Be sure to explore previous episodes or share this podcast to invite others on our safari. Have a great suggestion or want to be on the show? Reach out to Dennis on LinkedIn. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the wild world of CX.